All right, everybody, we are out here to quote a potential pond build for a previous customer. If you guys remember, Mike and I poured the ICF basement on that home right there. We installed the septic tank and the field bed system for that as well. This homeowner now would like to have some fill on the front side of his house. You can kind of see where the styrofoam is sticking up out of the ground. They want to pour sidewalks along the front side of their home. So basically what they're ready for on the home is final grade. However, with the amount of dirt that they had here in their original area and the amount of dirt that was needed to backfill around the house and also contour the back side of the home, we didn't have a bunch of dirt left. So we're here today to potentially build them a pond that comes all the way around over to here and then kind of comes through here, because they want to be able to drive a vehicle through this area here all along this edge. So we can do some pretty interesting things here. We've got some high elevation over here, we've got some low elevation down there, and then we pick elevation back up over there. I have the best helper today. What do you think, Reese? We've got Reese here today. It's going to help us shoot some elevations and figure out how much dirt we're going to need to get to the elevation of that road front there. The reason we want to get to that elevation is if we build a body of water down here and someone runs off of that highway and ends up in this pond, that's a problem. However, if we push this higher elevation that we're at right now down to the base of the hill and build a levee that connects, I'm thinking it's going to connect somewhere right over in here next to that big cedar tree, and then come down, kind of turn a little bit and run long over to that point over there. And then we're probably going to have to do some work up in here as well to ensure that the water doesn't go over there too far. So that field bed, we have to stay a specific footage away from that field bed with the water for obvious reasons there. So, Reese, you ready to shoot some grade? Yeah. Yeah? Why don't you grab the laser, and we're going to move it right up here. Pick it straight up out of the ground. Can you do that? There you go. Bring it right up here, buddy. Oh, gosh. Was it heavy? Ow. Is it poking you? No. Here, let me help. How about that? Is that helpful? Yes. All right, let's set it up right there. And we're going to set it up here because this ensures that there is enough room for the homeowner to drive from the woods to where the potential water line would be. And we're also, you want to go grab our blue spray paint? Yeah. We're also going to give the homeowner an idea of where that water is going to land, kind of give them some blue dotted lines, if you will, out through here. So let's get this going, Reese. What do you say? Good. Good? All right, let's go. Let's go. What do you think, Reese? Good. You think we're good? Mm-hmm. Let's go down here and explain to everybody what we've done. Who painted this blue line? Did you paint this blue line?
No, you did.
I showed you how we wanted to do it, right? And then we came over here. Show them where you painted. Because we almost ran out of paint, so we had to give less signifiers. Okay. Reese put these blue dots down. You can see the next blue dot right over there. Go a little further. Yeah. And then there's another one in that muddy spot. A little bit further, right? All right. So now let's come back up here and explain it to them, bud.
There's one right there.
Yep, and there's one right there. So let's go back up here by the laser and explain to them what we're thinking, so that everyone fully understands the goal of this project. The goal of this project is finish grade around the home. That's number one. But in order to achieve that, a pond is potential. So, with all that being said, you guys can see there's a lot of dirt needed. There's probably 18 inches of dirt, and it kind of tapers to nothing. But that 18 inches of dirt carries all the way around the house. So that's number one. But our hope, Reese, our hope is to build them as big of a body of water as we can build them, right?
Can I tell you something?
Sure, you can tell us something. Tell everybody something.
And we're building a new pool.
Oh, well, that's a later conversation.
I know.
So this blue line right here goes over there about 50 yards, and then at 90s, and it runs over the hill.
It runs over.
And then at 45s down to this bottom, you can see that telephone pole across the highway there, kind of to that point there. And that would be somewhat of a levee, and then we would 45 it / 90 it in this bottom corner and run 100 yards all the way over. You can kind of see the tracks in the grass there where we drove through the field. Just beyond that, there's a high point somewhere about right there. That high point right there is still 10 feet lower than where we are here. So what we got to do, Reese, if we get down here kind of on ground level, we got to make this ground and that ground all the way down there the same height, so that all of this ends up water. Pretty close to the left of the mailbox. Reese is talking about that mailbox right down there.
And
oh wait, it's over there. But we're going to be to the left of that a little bit.
One time, Dad forgot to put a blue spot.
I did forget to put a blue spot, didn't I?
And I put it down though. No, you did.
So we've got a rough drawing over here. Let me grab the rough drawing and show you guys kind of what we're thinking. I forgot to put it in the Jeep. Grace, you put this in the Jeep. What'd you do that for?
I did.
I'm kidding. All right, so let's get on our desk here. So this is the home, which you guys have seen right over there. Here's the field bed, which is what that vent represents. That's a Presby system. We have to stay a specific distance away from it. So here's the laser, which again is there. My thought process is, this is that top blue line I was telling you about, and then this is where it comes down, and this is kind of the 45. Top blue line right here. There's the 90 right there, which that is the same elevation as the laser. After we get to that point, we start losing elevation pretty quickly. You can see 5 foot, 6.5 inches, 12 foot, 14 foot. 14 foot's that bottom corner, somewhere down there around that telephone pole.
Hey, Dad.
And then right here in the center, we have 17 feet. And when I say center, you can kind of see it. Slopes off right there. This comes in, slopes off, and they both kind of meet right in there. That's the lowest point, which is going to be the tallest point of the levee. And again, our goal is to keep this levee taller than that highway. So if someone comes off the highway during the winter or during the summer, has an accident, they end up in the ditch on the back side of the levee instead of in the water. That's basically going to start roughly right about where Reese is standing. So that gives us 100 yards of length there, 50 to 60 yards of width here, 50 to 60 yards of width here, and then probably 80 yards from this top corner to that bottom corner. So this is going to be a pretty decent sized pond. And the homeowner stated, you can't make my pond too big. I won't be unhappy unless it's too small. Now, with all that being said, once we get the backfilling of the home done, that will truly tell us how big of a pond we can build. Obviously, I'm sure he'd be okay with the pond being from the tree line that the Jeep is against all the way to the property line, and probably all the way to the highway, and probably all the way to his house. But we do have some limiting points that we have to ensure we stay proper offsets from. You think we should go buy some ice cream now?
Yes.
Where are we gonna go get ice cream at? The Derby Market.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, because the Derby Market is right down the road, right over in there somewhere.
No, but I was thinking to go get ice cream from Walmart and buy some.
Walmart?
Yeah.
We were just in Walmart earlier when it was raining.
I know.
Now we're gonna go to the Derby Market. All right, everybody. We are back out on the potential pond build. Boy, it looks like y'all are dirty. Let's clean you off there. We came out, you all saw Reese and I out here quoting this, and the customer likes our price, likes what we're talking. So now what we've got to do is dig some test holes and see what the dirt quality is to find out if this area has great potential to hold water or not. And the way that we like to do this is kind of the bottom right corner if you're looking away from the house being behind us. We're going to dig this corner, the other corner, the top corner, and then also somewhere over in here. We can't really make a corner because this is going to make that interesting little turn there. So let's get to digging. All right, so as stated, digging test holes today. We like to go about 10 foot deep just to kind of get an idea of the soils and what we're working with. And this ground has proven in previous digs to be pretty hard ground down in here, so we're going to scratch our way down to 10 feet, see what kind of dirt we've got, and hope that we've got good pond potential building dirt. Looks like we've already made it through the topsoil layer. There's about 6 inches of topsoil down here. All right, we've got about 4 foot dug here. Let's kind of go out and take a look-see. So right there is the topsoil layer. You can see how fine that is. And then down here, we're starting to get into a more clay-based material. And as we get lower, there's kind of a little deposit area there. And then we're getting into some pretty good pond material, if you ask me. We're gonna dig another 6 feet just to confirm that we don't end up hitting rock. But it hasn't been very rocky at all yet. That little top layer had some small fine rock in it, nothing major. You can kind of see them in there. Well, let's keep going. Dirt's looking good so far. All right, everybody, we've made it to about 8 feet. We hit an interesting clay layer that isn't as consistent as what I think we're gonna like, but I'm gonna take another bucket out of the bottom here. See, whoops, a little too fast, Matt, a little too fast. You kind of see it there. I wanna see if we get past it or if we don't get past it. And if we do get past it, how thick is it? Kind of made it difficult for me to get down in the hole, but we'll figure that out. I saw smoke on that one. Let's go check it out. All right, we're down in here. We might have some fun getting out, but we are 8 feet deep and we're starting to hit a layer of rock. That's going to make things interesting. We've got good dirt above it. That right there definitely hold water. Now the question's going to be this down here, because we've got some really decent clay. I mean, I can mold it, right? So that's good dirt. It's this chunky stuff here in the middle of that that's got me a little concerned, but obviously Mr. DP will make the last call on this. It's pretty solid stuff. I can get it to break up, but you can see where the teeth drug through it there. We got through that real nice clay layer and then hit that. So we are going to call this test hole basically done. I'm probably going to come down in here with the bucket one more time to see if this stuff breaks up or if it is just solid. Because if it's solid rock, we're okay. If it's not solid rock and it's just chunky rock has cracks in it. This stuff here looks to be, it appears to be solid. We're gonna find out. We're gonna take one more swipe out of there, and then we'll let DP make the last call on this. He's definitely more of the expert. I do like that. That's nice right there. And maybe this is just gonna be a shallow pond and we stay a foot above that, because that's about a foot between the two. So let's take one more swipe, see what we end up with. That sounds and feels pretty solid to me. Drug the teeth across it there. Let's go take a look-see. Yeah, that's pretty solid. The only thing that cut in is the actual teeth. I didn't get any major chunky stuff out of that. So we're gonna go down to the far end of the field, right over there. We're gonna dig another one, see if we hit the same thing or if we hit something different. All right, test hole number 2. That's not looking promising. Might have to skip down the hill a little bit. That's pretty hard. Now obviously that rock could be 4 feet, that rock could be 20 feet, so we're going to cover that back up, and we're going to go towards our other corner a little bit closer. See if we can just avoid that rock for the test hole digging. But it's good to know that obviously there's some rocks out here. That's going to play into the moving dirt around time frame. So let's get this covered back up. Let's move down a little bit. All right, so right over there is where we started test hole number 2. We're jumped down here about 15 feet. We're gonna try test hole number 2 down here a little bit further and hope that we don't hit the same thing that we just hit, which was a pretty big rock. Topsoil so far. Let's hope that that trend continues and we can stay away from big rocks. Get this test hole dug. I might have spoke too soon. A lot of white powder coming out of there. I've got her cleaned off here. That is nothing but a great big solid rock. That bucket is not going to cut through that, and it's the entire width. Nothing but rock. So that rock over there was almost the exact same depth as this rock. I'm going to assume it's the same rock, which is a pretty big rock. So I can kind of see a little swag right there, and I can see a high spot. We're going to bump down. You can see we moved, like I explained a second ago, about 15 feet. We're going to go a little bit further than that, and maybe we just avoid this side of that hump, and we tie in from the hump right there over to the other hump, because that is one long draw of a low spot. But we will have to figure out, once we get that tied in, assuming that DP is okay with putting a pond here, once we get that tied in, how are we going to tie it in here to ensure that we get some water level, unless I can get another 8 foot over there, or 6 feet that looks pretty good, and we can bring this dirt and down, then you have 6 foot of depth, and then we tie it in and build it up. So we definitely want to be higher than the highway there. Let's just assume a car comes off of that and ends up in the ditch. That's where we want them to end up at, and we're plenty far. Our setback is plenty for what's required. So let's jump right over there on that other side of that hill there, and let's dig another one. All right, everybody, this one got a little better, just a little better. 8 to 10 inches on the far one before we hit solid rock, roughly 1 foot to 18 inches on that next one before we hit solid rock, and here we've got 3 feet before we hit solid rock. So we do know that on this bottom edge we're going to be building it up. We only have to go down a certain depth to tie the keyway in properly, and we've obviously got plenty of depth and really decent dirt in that corner. I don't know how much there is of it because it's a test hole. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to the top side and find out, can I get 8 to 10 feet again or more without hitting solid rock, or am I going to hit solid rock again at 10 inches or 3 feet? Time will tell. Let's go up there and start this top corner. Test hole number 5. We're hoping for some better depths up here, because this is where we'll actually get all of our dirt from to build the lower levee. We're hoping for some pretty good depth. If I could get a full bucket, we'd know sooner rather than later. That's a little better. Still looking like it's some pretty sifty soils. A little bit better material there. I don't want to jinx myself on the depth, so I'm not going to say we're getting deeper. Oh crap, I just said we're getting deeper. Heck on it. Hopefully we don't hit a rock soon. You kind of see it smearing on the edge there. That's the kind of stuff we like to see it. Pretty sifty though. Breaking up. Doesn't look like bad dirt. Again, DP's the expert on this. That's why I like to video it when I'm digging test holes, so he can kind of see what the dirt looked like as it came out. He's on a different job today. grabbed the pole barn pad that you'll see on his channel. Haven't hit any rock yet, that's a good thing. Starting to chunk up a little bit. This one here I'll probably dig a little bit deeper. Obviously the previous holes stopped me at a specific depth, but we like, as I stated earlier, to go 10 feet. This one here, if I can get to 10, I'll probably go 12 or 13 feet just to confirm what we've got. Some pretty good stuff there. We're getting some depth to it too, which is a good thing. White smoke though. See if we can get through this one or if we end up being solid again. There's definitely some smoke coming out of there. It's really sandy. Sandy. I still see a decent layer in there of some clay. The ultimate question comes down to, is that layer enough in thickness and enough in area to get what we need for our keyway? It's still letting me go in depth, so we're going to keep going here. As hard as that last one was. Really hard. Yeah, I think that's going to be our depth right there. We're going to kind of leave that in the bucket so we can pull it out of there and get a good look-see. All right, we're going to pull this out of the bucket here for you guys. You can kind of see it's getting pretty rocky, and it doesn't hold together very well. There's some clay content down at that depth. You can see it there. That's holding together decent. We can mix that with some other good stuff. What Mike likes to say, not I, but what Mike likes to say is, can we make a hot dog out of it? When it comes to septic systems, if you can, that's bad. When it comes to ponds, if you can, that's good. But you can see it's still fracturing there. So we'll show this to DP and see what he thinks. I can definitely mold it. Now the question is that moldable enough? And do we have enough of it? Because you can see at that depth, it's pretty deep. You can see at that depth there, that's I hopped down in there a second ago, and it's 10 feet deep. It's not quite as deep as what I would want, but you can kind of see on the wall there. Get down in here a little bit. You can see this layer here. has got a lot of clay content to it, but it's really soft. Now, the benefit to it is it doesn't fracture as bad, and you can start to see more of that gray clay down in there, which I can't reach it. I'm not going to hop back down in there because it was hard to get out of it. You can see that smears out pretty good and doesn't break up right in there. So that layer there is a pretty good layer of material, and that's at about the I don't know, 6 foot depth there. So we're going to call this one decent. I'm not going to call it great, but we're going to call it decent. We're going to hop down, we're going to dig another one. We're going to dig this top edge all the way out and make sure that depth is consistent all the way across, and if it is, we're going to jump down in the middle over here. And I don't want to pick a high spot, I want to pick a low spot and kind of see, do we have enough material to where we can shove this slope to the bottom and build it up all the way across and put a good keyway in and make sure that this thing, try to make sure that this thing holds water. Obviously we don't have a crystal ball for what's underneath out in here, so we could get started and find a great big huge rock with a great big crack in it, and we'd have to stop process. So let's dig some more holes. All right, everybody, this is definitely the better hole so far, depth-wise. We're getting pretty far down in there. Tried to create myself some little steps over here so I can at least get halfway down in the hole and show you guys what we're working with here. You can see there's a really good layer right there, kind of creating a shadow on you there, but you got the topsoil, real sifty. When you get into this area here, that a little bit chunkier, and you get into this area that's pasty, come down here, and if you rub that outside edge off of it, you get into this really good layer there. That's some good dirt. As you get down in here a little further, you start getting into that where it starts breaking up, but get down in here all the way, that's some pretty good dirt right there. It's wet, obviously, down here, way more wet than it is up there, but that dirt, I am going to say, oh, let's crawl up out of here. And again, that's about 12 foot deep. I'm gonna call that dirt there really good. And now that we found some really good dirt down in there, you can kind of see that test hole there is uphill quite a ways. And the reason is we got to draw the water down this way when we build this. The majority of the water is going to be on this lower end. So I'm going to go down in here somewhere and dig a hole kind of in between that one, which we know was 8 feet deep, solid rock. This one, it's 12 feet deep, no rock yet. We could probably dig a little more. But what are we in the middle? Are we another 8 feet? And does that tell us this hillside over here is, you know, stay out of that hillside, build everything on this side of that slope, utilize that slope to tie a good levee into it, carry it on over to where we know we got 8 feet. But what do we have here in the middle? Let's go find out. Let's dig another hole. All right, everybody, this will be our last test hole here. We're kind of just going out in the middle to see, do we have depth out here or do we not have depth out here? Hopefully we do, and everything will end up working out all right. Quit being so jerky, Matt. Quit being so jerky. This thing is so responsive. Hopefully we end up with depth and good dirt. It's kind of the hope. Kind of going to tell the story as to which side of the field the majority of the body of water is going to be on. And that's the beauty of digging test holes, is it actually kind of tells you, you know, we make estimates and guesstimations on how the layout of the pond is going to be, and we can have those general conversations, but what it really all comes down to is the dirt. The dirt tells us where we can put what and what we can put where, if that makes any sense at all. We're going to finish this test hole out here, hope for the best. We'll show you guys what the quality on this one ends up being once we get it dug. All right, we hit rock again. I'm 6 foot tall. This is eye level, so we're 5.5 feet, and it's really wet in here. We got some decent packable dirt, and then this down here gets really wet. So hit rock, hit okay dirt. You can see the topsoil here. Good layer of topsoil, but not very far below it you get down into this stuff here. So that's it for the test hole digging. With all that being said, Reese, what are we gonna tell everybody?
Subscribe and turn on those notifications on.
That's close. That's really close. So let's say it together. As always, like
and subscribe.
Just say what I say.
Like
and comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to turn your notifications on. Can you repeat it again? Like
the video.
As always,
like the video and turn on
comment,
subscribe and turn on those notifications on.
Perfect. Thank you for the help.